When you watch hockey live, it is so different than TV. It's just a different animal.
Fun on the street. We're with Carl Taylor, coach of the Milwaukee Admirals. Carl, shake your hand.
Yep.
Thank you for
Pleasure to meet you, Jerry.
being willing to go and film with us. Again, fun on the street. We love sports. We love enthusiasm. I'm interested in learning a little bit more about you. You've been coach for 3 years. You were hired 3 years ago?
Correct.
Yes. Congratulations on all you've accomplished already.
Yep.
Let's talk about your background a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your growing up, where you grew up, things you did throughout your life to get you here today.
Yeah, well, I actually went home to visit my mother a couple of days ago in North Bay, Ontario, and retraced my steps a little bit. But we live on a dead-end street, and around the corner, like every Canadian city, there's an outdoor rink that I used to play on quite a bit. Grew up there and played travel hockey and all the rest of the things, and went into the OHL and then played Canadian University. As a player, I moved into coaching. When that ended, attended the University of New Brunswick in Canada, not New Jersey. And played there, and then ended up coaching there. Went to school there. From there, that's where I got the bug with coaching. And I ended up traveling out west to work with Mike Johnson with Team Canada for a year in an apprenticeship program. Got my first job at Red Deer College, and that's kind of how I got off to the races.
What are the current players' ages? Are you young enough they can relate to you well, or are you a little bit more of a mentor because you've gone through a whole lot?
I think you're always trying to stay current in any business, or else it's going to pass you by. That goes in any walk of life. But so I have younger assistant coaches that have played in the American Hockey League. That is not by accident. You want to surround yourself with people that complement, fill some of your potholes, and make sure you have that balance in your staff. And so that's part of what we've done. Greg Rallo came with me from Texas, who played for me, and then we inherited Scott Ford, who's been here for a very long time in the Milwaukee area as a player and as a coach. So when you're dealing with the players, you get a wide range, and everyone comes from a different country, different parents, different environment, different city. So there's a lot of different factors. I always start at base one, and that's just starting to build a relationship and getting to know them, trying to build the trust with them, letting them know that they can speak to you about difficult circumstances and what's happening. So that's something I really focus on no matter where they come from. But I try to stay current. But for me, it's not about, the old days you'd have a meeting at the halfway point, you'd have a meeting at the end of the season. Now we meet every day. And so at the coffee shop, at the coffee machine, in the morning, you go for walks around the arena. Make sure they know it's not always desk player. So you break down some barriers, and the players know that I walk with them. There's going to be some days we have uncomfortable conversations, and the reason we have them is so that they can reach the goals they want, and we can do it sooner than they plan on it and try to raise the bar of what they're trying to do. So I think when they understand that I am walking with them and I have their best interest for them, and then it makes for easier conversations.
Tell me more about coaching philosophies, other models that you've looked at that you relate to, that you think that you like.
Yeah, I think for myself, you go through, I've coached, 25 years now, and you're always learning, you're always searching and trying to find what's next, what can you do better. You have to ask those questions from your staff and from players so you do get honest answers, because there's always things we can improve on. But as far as, I'd been a head coach for a long time, East Coast League, Canadian University, then I went to the American League. Initially I was an assistant coach, and I was there did that job for 6-7 years as an assistant. And it was a really good move for me, because I was first, as a head coach, I was probably firmer than usual, harder, and then you learn, okay, that's what worked, that's what I thought was right. And then as an assistant, you're able to step back and just watch other people work. You add your 2 cents and you do what you need to do. And I was really excited to be a head coach again coming into this position, because I felt I just had a different perspective and a new way of going about my business. And like you said, I am straight, honest. There's no pretending, but it's done in a way that I've learned that you don't have to yell to hold people accountable, and I think at some point I did believe that as a young man. It's not necessary. It's just factual and straight ahead. We tell the guys exactly what we think, and conversations may be had where it's like, so you say you want to be in the NHL. Are you sure? Yes. Are you really sure? Yes. Okay, because this conversation is going to be difficult, but it's necessary if that's what you want. So let's have that conversation now. And that's the new way of coaching now. It's just through communication, allowing those players, and you're still the head coach, so they go through the assistants sometimes, which is fine. Some coaches want to know everything. I don't want to know everything. Sometimes those conversations are better to stay with the assistant coaches because it's a trust factor sometimes. But for me, when you look at where we're at and where I'm coaching, your coaching philosophy is always based on certain values and things you believe in. I have needs. I need to win games for the fans and for Harris and our local community here. The players need to get their ice time out of me, so we have to find a balance there. And then also there's the team needs. And so it's give and take in all those three areas, in my opinion. And I try to explain that to the players so they understand that. So they know that there's going to be times where I'm thinking about the team, or I'm thinking about them, or maybe we're trying to get a win. Decisions are based, and that's my job, is to manage those three needs, which are all very different, and to manage that to try to get the results in not one area, but all three of those areas. But some days it doesn't always mesh well.
In 2 seasons, you've done some pretty great things, including most outstanding coach, the 2nd season. That's pretty quick success.
Yeah, we had some things happened personnel-wise in the season early. We'd be remiss to just say it was coaching. It's a very great honor. And I think it's a team award too. It's the players we signed. It's how the coaching staff, the equipment trainers, everyone, how we operate here. Coming in, I wanted to be a certain way in the environment that I'm comfortable with. First year, there was a lot of changeover. Scott Nichols, our general manager, and he was, making his mark as well and getting the people in place that he wanted or that we felt would fit best for how we want to run things here. And so the first year there was a lot of players that came through and a lot of different things that happened. We ended up at the end of the year getting on a good run. But the second year, like I said, some things happened with Nashville. Some guys came down, maybe unexpected, and we were a very good hockey team, no question about that. We had a great group, great individuals, and it was a really fun year. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way we all wanted it to, but nothing we can do about COVID and how that occurred.
Right.
And the organization and our staff, the whole coaching staff, including Ryan Costello, our director of hockey ops, we were very proud of the award. And it is a team award. It shouldn't be coach there. It should be called whatever, coaching staff of the year, or it should be a different title, because it's not just one person. And I know everyone says that, but it's the truth. It truly is.
What are the typical ages of your players on your team?
So yeah, in the first year we had Eli Tolvanen. He was 18. So that's unusual to have a young player like that. Usually it's 20 to 35 would be the range. The league has gotten younger. There's rules in place so that you can only have 6 veterans on your team that have played X amount of games. I think that's, focus of the NHL is to be a development league and have people chasing and trying to develop and reach the NHL. So that's kind of the range of the players. We have, every year you'll have some guys that have families and children, and some years you're a younger team. There's different challenges with that depending on your mix.
Yeah,
and how
it's quite a range.
It is.
So you have an older element to there, the 30 to 35-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah, so at times, that'll occur. And I'm a big believer in empowering the team and empowering our leadership group. Usually we have 5, 6 players in our leadership group, and we'll meet with them separate from the team, every 2 weeks. Touch base, here's the schedule, here's the plan. We have to go here and do this. Do you want to practice before, or do you want to practice when we get in? Yeah. The guys have a huge say in how we operate. I really believe in empowering them to, like you said, before we were on camera, you're like, do you spend a lot of time in here? Well, I try not to, because it's their room. So
yeah,
yes,
I was struck by you. I was trying to figure that out. Yeah.
So yeah, we teach in here and we do those things, but we don't want to hang out in here because we want them to feel comfortable. Yeah. We want them to be able to feel free in their conversations with each other. And again, we don't need to know everything.
Yeah. I'm very impressed. Yeah, very nice.
That's kind of how we. So our leadership group and our older players, it's usually some of your older players are in that leadership group. We just signed Cole Snyder's coming back and Matt Donovan's here. Like, those are guys we've had, and they know what I want and how I operate and what our staff is looking for. And so going into the season, that's something we'll rely on a lot, and building that leadership group. And it's a bit of a changeover because we were very spoiled with Jared Tenorti. He was our first captain. He was here for 2 years. Now he's off to New York for a 2-year contract, which is great for him. We're really proud of him, and he's probably the best captain I've been around. So it was a thrill to have him, and he made my job very easy. Tell
them, first of all, about the neat individuals that they're going to see on the ice on your team. You should give a shout out on why they're cool people and why it could be fun to watch them compete.
Well, I think it starts with the brand of hockey that we want to play as a staff. I think it starts there before we get to the individuals. But you're going to see a hard-nosed, straight-ahead hockey team who's going to stick up for each other. We're going to stand together, and you'll see that in how we play. But you also see a very entertaining brand of hockey where scoring goals. We've been top 5 the last 2 years in the league. We score a lot. We play high-paced game. We're not afraid to stand up for each other. So there's a good balance.
Yeah.
Is how Scott builds his teams and how I like it as well. That's the product they're going to see outside of the game ops and all the great things that Harris and his staff do.
Yeah.
But the individuals, you're going to see people from all over the world.
Yeah.
You're going to see a blue-collar guy from Canada. You're going to see someone from Finland. You're going to see people from the States, people from all walks of life that all have, and that's the thing that's so interesting about our job is you're going to see individuals that are going to play in the NHL, and you're going to see them on TV. They're going to see, like, you look at the guys, Tanner Janot, Eli Tovanen, Matty Olivier, the list is long, Colin Black. There's the 10, 12 guys that are full-time in the NHL from our first year here since we came in. So lots of guys are going to move on. The nice thing is you're not paying $200 a ticket.
Right.
You get to come in for much less, and you get to see the future stars of the National Hockey League. So I think that's a big selling point for what they're going to see. But I think overall you're going to see a team that is very aggressive in how they play offensively, but also how we stick together, and that's the message for me.
Your style of play as a hockey player, what was Taylor like on the ice?
Well, he was a guy that got into coaching early because he wasn't good enough. But I played. I played forward and defense. I was kind of played both spots all through my career. Sometimes that helps you, sometimes it hurts you. Who knows? I played major junior in Ontario and the OHL. And then went to Canadian University. I could have played minor pro hockey, but I decided to do master courses instead, and probably a good decision at that point, being 25, and the path was probably blurry to climb the charts that way. But I was just a hard-working guy who cared about his teammates and tried hard and was a good teammate, and I've always been a captain or a leader wherever I was for the most part. And those kinds of things just came natural to me, and how I'd like to be around the dressing room, be around the guys, be very involved, and that probably leads to how I got into coaching was kind of how I played and what I did.
What do you see around the corner?
Well, the hard part is the season ended, COVID came in, it got canceled. This little mini season we just had, our team didn't operate, and we actually commuted to Chicago back and forth every day because Nashville had assigned our players there. So we don't want to talk about that anymore. We're very focused on moving ahead. The great team, all that stuff, it's over with. It doesn't matter how it ended. Now we're focused on this season, and every season is a new opportunity for that group of people. You're only together once. Like, the team always changes, players change, so that group will only be together for this season. And so it's going to be whatever we make out of it. And so I just love the challenge of meeting the new people, the new signings. Obviously there's some guys coming back that I do know and I'm familiar with. But I think meshing the group, organizing the group, going through the process and the grind of the season, not knowing how it's going to end. You have your hopes of how you want it to end, and just always trying to make sure that we overachieve. That's the one thing as a coach, because your team is always different. So if you're a very young team, then what's overachieving might mean something different than the team that we had a couple of years ago where we were hoping to win the championship. So it all depends on how the mesh comes together. But the bottom line for us here is we're looking forward to the next season, and we win here, and that's the expectation. We want to do it with a certain style and how we go about our business. Entertaining product, obviously, for the fans, but we want to win, and that's our focus here.
If you were to prioritize what creates the W's, chemistry, X's and O's, leadership top to bottom, what stands out to you that is the most vital, the most special ingredient which actually delivers the highest potential?
Yeah, I think in the end it's the players. And no matter what happens, coaches don't play. The players have to execute. They have to be on the ice. The coaches set the environment and how they operate. I think that's a huge piece. Number one, the players, because the players are the players. The leadership group, like I said, empowering them. They're the guys that manage the room when you're not around, and they're the coaches when you're not there, is how we explain it to them. Sometimes they'll have to do things they don't really want to do, but it's what we would like as a staff, and so they have to step up and be leaders in that moment. So for me, it's the actual players and how they commit to each other, because no one is blocking a shot because the coaches are watching video or tape. They're not. They're blocking a shot because of the environment, how much they care about each other. So it's always about the intangibles and the tightness of the group. And so as a coach, I'm way more big picture when I approach our team building and what we're trying to do. Our focus is on how do we get these guys to gel? How do we get them to get outside of their comfort zones? How do we get them to expect more of themselves? It's a prime example. It's weird. The odd fight does happen in hockey sometimes. It truly does. It's changed a lot and has gone away.
Okay.
But usually you have people that do it more than others. That's just normal. Well, if you have someone step up in a moment, that's a team moment, and doesn't usually do those things, they get a couple extra check marks, because we all understand it's a difficult thing. We understand they're doing it for a teammate, they're doing it for a right reason. If you get enough of those type of, it doesn't always have to be a fight. It could be the guy that doesn't block a shot. It could be the guy that doesn't taking a hit to make a play. It's those intangibles. When you get other people doing it that don't usually do it, that's when you know you have a special group. So as a coach, when you're on the bench and you start hearing your sayings coming back and people doing things they don't usually do, that's when you know you have an opportunity to do something special, whatever that means.
So when you talk about people who put it out there about blocking shots, tell our audience what you're referring, what that's about.
I will. I want to speak to the novice fan, if I may call it that. You know, I started an expansion team in the East Coast League in California, so it was a newer hockey market, and I think the one thing for people to understand is that when you watch hockey live, it is so different than TV. It's just a different animal. And I would tell everyone, you have to experience and smell it and taste it, be in the building, and you can hear me yell sometimes, you can hear the players talking, you can hear all these elements of the game that you just don't get on TV. It is a different thing. To your direct question about blocking shots, it's a big part of the game. So the goalie has the most equipment. Obviously, he has to block the puck, keep it out of the net so we don't get scored on. But all our players are expected to block shots and basically get in the way of shots so that the puck does not even get to the goaltender. It's a challenge. Sometimes it hits pads, which is good. Sometimes it hits areas that aren't good.
Yeah.
And so when you're on the bench and you see people, and you can tell, we've all seen it in the game, is when you really want to block a shot, you block it.
Yeah, you put everything in.
Yeah, you block it. And there's times when you're nervous to do it and it gets by you. So if you get enough guys doing it and you get that animal growing and that beast within, that's a power within the room that it becomes an expectation.
Cool.
It's not a surprise that it occurs. This is what we do. This is how we operate. You either get on the train or you're going to be left at the station.
Right. I don't watch a lot of hockey.
Yep.
But I've heard it's great in-person sports event to watch.
Yep.
And I'm definitely, I look forward to watching some of your games in person. I've been somewhat found it interesting that playing soccer, they don't sell out trying to block the shot. I mean, there's a lot of semi-effort, and I guess that's because they're very vulnerable.
Yes.
But I mean, it's noticeable. It's like when you go to block a field goal. It's all about giving yourself up.
Right.
And so it's just interesting that different sports have some of that kind of thing going on.
For sure.
Tell me and our viewers a little bit about Milwaukee and what you've observed.
Yeah. So we live out in Lake Country area, and so my kids attend Arrowhead High School out there. The city loves sports, obviously. It's a big part of the fabric here. But my son plays junior ads at the Pettit Center, so he's a hockey player doing that. My daughter's into dancing and theater and volleyball. So I would say to our viewers that Milwaukee is a place where if you want to find something, you're going to find it. But you can see the Brewers are doing great, the Bucks are doing great, we're coming off a good season. It's just the best small, big city in America, they say. And it's a place where it's small enough that you feel you can have an impact as a fan, and it's not too big that you don't get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
That's what I feel it is. And for me, I think our little niche part of the market here, and as part of the sporting environment, is that we're in a great venue. There's a lot of history in this venue. A beautiful locker room, as you can see. It's all been renovated when we moved over here from the Bradley Center before I came in, but I played some games over there as the visitors.
Okay.
And so Milwaukee is a place where you can find whatever you look for. And that's what I like about it, is that you can matter, you can count, you can be accounted for, because all those fans are out there in the Deer District for the playoffs. I am not a basketball fan as we would say. I watched every game on TV, cheering them on. My son was down there cheering. What a great event for the city, and especially coming out of the COVID break and all the things that happened. I thought it was very important for all the business owners in the area as well as the Bucks. So I think Milwaukee is a great place to live, and it's a place where you can find whatever you look for.
We have so enjoyed talking to Carl Taylor today, coach of the Milwaukee Admirals. Carl, thank you so much. We're going to look forward to watching you this year, and I'll see you at courtside a few times. What's the
Ringside.
What? Ringside.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Fun on the street. We're bringing it to you. What a great day today. Have a great day. Watch some hockey. Great sport. Great in-person sport. Thank you.